Yeah. Oh no. We most certainly can.
What up?
Hello. What up, though?
Yo. All right. What's going on, everybody? This is the Let's Have a Real Conversation podcast with
Dashing D
and JD.
Hey.
All right. We're back.
We're back.
We're late,
We're late.
but we here.
In here.
And we got mics. Mike. No, all right.
Mic check. Microphone check.
Oh.
I don't remember the rest.
Oh, I thought he's about to go in. Method Man and Redman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Classics.
That is a classic.
Yep. All right. So
We're going to talk about...
what's on the agenda? What's on the agenda for today?
Well, we got to talk a little bit about inflation.
I hate
Inflation is up.
Inflation is ruining our lives.
According to the Wall Street Journal, it's up 7.9%, the highest in 40 years.
In 40 years?
Yes,
that
ma'am.
wasn't even a dream or a prayer yet.
Me either. Neither. I was still swimming.
Yeah.
Swimming for a living.
Dad still had me,
You were swimming too.
This person, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sharing it yet.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Backstrokes
No.
and
Yeah.
butterflies and all that.
Yeah.
Can you? Anyway.
Yeah, okay. So, inflation. Inflation is ruining things as far as I'm concerned. My Starbucks, that's usually $4.84, is now $5.17. I don't even buy coffee all the time. That's my little iced tea drink that I buy before work when I just need a little pick me up, not coffee.
And they fucking it up.
They're fucking it up. $5.17 for Starbucks,
now.
and then don't try to buy it on Uber Eats because then they'll upcharge you for every drop of syrup you use.
They just charge for everything on Uber Eats.
Ridiculous.
It's like you want to pick it up, that's a charge. You want it delivered, that's a charge. You want it for the same price as the store, that's a charge.
Right? Like my $4.84 drink. If I order it on Uber Eats, it's like $12. So,
$12?
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Double?
Yeah, because they're charging you to sweeten it, right? So for every pump, you have to pay like 80 cents.
No.
So
But how much is it if you go in Starbucks? So you said it's 80 cents on Uber Eats. If I go in Starbucks and say, yo, let me get 2 extra pumps of caramel.
Oh, I think they're charging you for that now too.
Oh, it was free before?
Yeah. I think you could just say, I want 5 pumps, and they'll give you 5 pumps.
Oh. Hey, ask that at Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm like, yo, whatever's the regular shit. Like,
right. I
don't
get
know.
confused because I'm like, well, what? Are we being conservative with that 5, or is that extra? Let me know what it is, because I don't want it to be too sweet, but, I digress.
Right.
Also, Netflix.
I was about to say, I heard Netflix is up. I don't pay, but I hear
I pay.
they charging cats. What is it, 20 now?
I'm some whole family's sugar mama when it comes to Netflix. I just, my Netflix account consists of me, who uses it the least.
Okay.
And people say that. People say the person paying for Netflix is usually the person who's watching it the least.
That is what I hear.
My best friend is on there.
Okay, gotta have bestie.
Family of 4. My sister.
So it's like 6 of y'all?
Wait, no, I'm not done. My sister, her children, and her husband, right? And then my mom, who probably doesn't really use it much, but she's on there. She has a profile and everything.
So how many profiles you have?
Okay, so there's 4 Netflix profiles because the kids have a kid's profile, then their parents have their profile, then my best friend has a profile, I have a profile, my mom does. So is that 5? Yeah.
So you paying $100 for Netflix?
Well, apparently I'm paying 21 something at this point. It was at $19.17 for a long time. and now it's gone up. And I subscribe to that thing, Truebill, that keeps track of your subscriptions.
Okay.
Twitter got me.
This is not an ad,
Twitter
by the way.
got me.
Truebill did not
But
pay
Truebill,
us.
if y'all want us, y'all can have us.
That's true.
Because I use it and it's very helpful. Well, we could talk about it another time, but it's the subscription. It keeps track of your subscriptions. So it made sure it told me that my bill went up $2 and changed the other day.
And how'd you feel about that? Let me get my therapist on.
I was upset because I'm like, I watch Netflix for very specific things. And you know, Netflix, you could wait a whole year and a half, 2 years before something comes back.
Absolutely.
Something you like. So
they definitely take their time.
Yeah. And then I know this doesn't really affect you, but meat.
Oh, listen, my best friend been
The
telling me
price of
meat has
meat.
been going up since the pandemic started.
Yeah,
She was calling me like, hey, yo, Jay, did you see the price on chicken? Yo, Jay, you seen ground beef? And I'm like,
Oxtails? Yo, oxtails was always expensive, right? Now, oh my gosh. It's like you go to the Caribbean spot and okay, curry chicken, $16 for the dinner. You got stewed chicken, $16. Everything went up, but it used to be like $12. Whatever. You get to oxtail, they charge you like $30 for a little. You're not even getting a lot of pieces of oxtail.
you getting a side order?
I love me some oxtail. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. I love to cook oxtail too, but I'm not buying that shit. Not at that price.
That's expensive.
We went shopping around. I went with my mom around the holidays to get stuff for, Thanksgiving dinner and whatever. And the oxtail was like $60, $70 something a pound. I was like, excuse me? We will not be eating that. No, we'll be eating healthy. We'll just, veggies. Veggies are cheaper.
I'm about to say, broccoli's still the same price.
Ridiculous.
But I will say cauliflower went up. I think because a certain group of people use it a lot.
Listen, people. Yeah.
What color is your shirt?
It's white.
Oh, okay.
It's white.
It could be because of that.
Here's the thing, right? They can keep their cauliflower. I'll just eat the green stuff.
I mean,
it's fine, and I like cauliflower very much, actually.
Cauliflower is cool because you can manipulate it and do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
That's why I was able to make it my daughter's favorite vegetable.
I
was like, let's do meatballs today.
Yeah,
you want
that's
popcorn chicken today?
That's smart. You could
mashed potatoes.
You could do anything with
rice. I saw on tasty.com, again, not an ad.
Not but tasty. If you want us, you can have us. Just let us know.
You already got the tasty colored mic too.
I mean,
they got like all kind of blues.
Blue mic.
True. And they got some like grilled cheese sandwich, but there's no bread. You formulate like bread shaped patties out of cauliflower. They got a whole process. It's like, don't use bread, use cauliflower. No. I was like, for a grilled cheese then?
No, I'm gonna use bread.
I don't know. I'm just saying I thought that was interesting. But inflation is up.
Inflation is up. It's stressing me out.
And people are not getting a raise to balance it out.
Well,
I spoke about on my podcast how inflation and our salaries have a direct correlation, or cost of living, and everything went up, but not the money in our pockets, which means we have less buying power.
Listen, my job, well, it's not my job anymore, but we won't talk about that.
I want to say, how much how comfortable? I would say, do you want to have that much of a real conversation?
The job I just left.
Oh shit! All right.
Just said people were asking about cost of living raises, because that's a reasonable question, especially when you live in the New York tri-state area. Absolutely. And you're working in New York City.
Yes.
And they were like, the cost of living wages mean that that denotes that there is some sort of entitlement to that money, and
y'all are not entitled.
You're not entitled to that money, so we're not offering cost of living wages. We will review compensation in a couple of months and let you guys know what we come up with. But cost of living compensation, no. No, we won't be doing that. So I don't work there anymore.
That was it? That was the cherry on top?
I don't work there anymore. But neither here nor there.
Well,
It's ridiculous, is what
it's-
I'm trying to say.
it is ridiculous, and what's challenging is some of us do get cost of living increases,
Mhm.
but it's not the same amount as inflation.
Right.
So, for
right.
example, I know in one of the unions in New York City, I'll say, there's a 4% increase every year to
Yeah.
the salary.
Okay.
But if inflation's at 8%, that
It's
didn't
not-
do
you're
much.
not hit- yeah.
So you gave us a little more,
Right.
but it's not
But
the
it's not
same as
enough.
inflation. So it's
Yeah.
still like, thanks, but that wasn't the same. So it still presents a challenge because, yes,
Mhm.
you could argue that the person who got the 4% increase
Yeah.
is doing better than the person that did not get the 4% increase. But if inflation is at 8%, none of that shit
No,
matters.
because
Because
again,
everyone is still struggling
right.
to
Everyone's
purchase
rent-
goods, pay for Netflix,
Pay
buy
for
their
Net-
coffees.
Exactly. Pay rent.
Yeah, rent.
I just agreed to renew my lease, and they have not sent me my lease
Are
yet.
you scared?
I am terrified because
Yeah.
I know it's already gone up since COVID,
Mm.
and I know, and they've been doing all kinds of things like painting the hallways, trying to soup things up a little bit. They're getting ready to raise the rent.
Perceived value.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, these stairways don't look different. They just got a fresh coat of paint.
Listen, you see us out here shining.
Nothing, but that closet door is still rickety. Come fix it.
Wow.
Hello?
It's all about the perceived value.
Yeah.
So if it looks like it's fresh and brand new and expensive, that allows us to jack up the price.
Right. So I will keep you guys posted on,
You moving?
yeah, whether I will be looking for not just, a new job, but a new apartment. Yeah,
Right.
That might be the vibe.
Might next podcast we be waking you up.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, Dashing D, wake up! It's time to pod.
Yeah, I might need a place to crash because I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I'm worried about that. I am.
Yeah.
And I'm also afraid to ask them for the lease. I'm like, you give it to me when you're ready.
Right.
Think about it a little bit.
Take your time. Matter of fact, who needs a lease?
Right.
Let's just rock out month to month, baby.
Exactly. And
Don't
then
you trust
figure
me?
it out. Exactly.
Don't you trust me?
I'll be here.
I'm not going
I'll
anywhere.
be here.
Look at all my stuff.
Right.
What am I gonna do with all this
And
stuff?
that's really it, right? I don't want to move because I don't want to move my things. I don't want to pack up my things and put them in another place, and then you got to redecorate and do. I don't want to do that.
A friend of mine sent me a list a few years ago when they had to move.
Yeah.
They were like, "Did you know that moving is one of the most stressful things for Americans?" And I was like,
Absolutely is.
"There's so much shit going on in America. Are you serious?"
Nah,
And she was thorough. She sent me
is
like
shitty.
5 different lists
Yeah.
of the most stressful things or like the things Americans worry about the most.
Mhm.
And in every list,
Moving.
it was in like the top 5. Moving.
Is moving fun for you?
I mean, I'm just used to moving. So I moved a lot as a kid. I moved a lot as an adult. I've moved. I be moving.
Yeah, but it's okay. Moving, sure. Like relocating, sure. But the act of moving and having to set things up and pack things up.
You got to
and
get
put
your
things
squad involved.
here and there. And
All the people on
everywhere.
your Netflix account, you have to call them over and be like, all right, you pack this room, you pack that one. All right, take that down, put that there. The kids, you can put tape. Don't use, you know what I'm saying?
I will say I'm really good at bamboozling my mom to pack my boxes.
There you go.
She's a pro.
You see?
She's a pro.
That's who you got to call.
She'll
You gotta
make
get
me
your
some
squad
Netflix like
involved.
that. That's true.
Yeah. That's what the squad is for.
I'm still
That,
not
in
moving.
fact, I have a friend who said, if you really want to know who's your friend, tell them you're moving.
Tell them you're moving.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because
I
niggas
can
won't
see
show
that.
up.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And the same friend who sent me the list,
Mhm.
when she moved, there was like 40 of us. I never saw anything like this in my life. It was like a performance was happening.
I mean, she doesn't like to move.
She was like, hey, can you show up at this time and help? I was like, yeah, of course, I'll be there. And then when I got there was like 12 people in front of the building. And I was like, oh, what y'all here for? Is there a move out party? And they were like, no, she asked us. We owed her favors. She called them
Yeah.
in. And then wait, When we got to the second location,
were
so
more
that
people?
was to pack the truck to move.
She had a second set of
Yeah.
folks.
Then we got to
You
the
know
second
what?
location.
That's
So I
smart.
drove with one of the people, or rode with one of the people because I don't drive. And when we got to the new apartment, there was a whole new batch of people
That
waiting
was smart.
and calling, "Hey, I'm around the corner. Are you
Yeah.
there yet? Oh, I'm 2 stops away on the train." What?
That's smart though.
That was the flyest ever.
That's smart. And there's power in numbers, so you probably could just if you invite 30 people, 15 show up, something like that. You
Yep.
know? I dig that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm still not moving, but that is
I'm not saying move. I'm just
that
saying
is a good
this is the strategy you can use.
That's a good strategy.
When she did that, I was like, why I never thought of this? I always call like my 2 best friends, a cousin.
Yeah, you got it.
Because you know those people are gonna show up.
Right, and that's the
And
thing.
you probably also moved those people a couple
Yeah,
times.
that's true.
Because those are the same people that call you like, hey,
Moving time again.
so remember I told you about that big fight? Yeah, they kicked me out. You available on Thursday?
Is your couch
What time you
available?
said you get out of work? Oh yeah, is your couch available? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Exactly.
All right,
So our
what
first
we got-
episode, we spoke about problematic people.
We did.
And we didn't finish.
We did not finish.
We had a long list of
Yeah.
problematic people.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get to all of them.
Yeah.
And we should probably continue
We should
with
continue
those
that.
people. But we're going to do things a little differently. So the first episode, we spoke about people who were problematic at that moment. And we speak about music a lot here.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what you see. I'm getting uncomfortable. I don't even want.
listen, it's an uncomfortable
to-
conversation.
It's,
But we have to have a real conversation.
right. Yeah, but this is just.
It's going to be challenging, but we have to have it. Because this group of people have had public situations,
Mhm,
public allegations,
mhm.
and some straight up criminal history.
And straight up nasty shit said about them, or proven about them, because there's that. Not everybody,
And some people a mix.
right?
So,
Yeah.
where should we start? Should we start with the Pied Piper of R&B?
Yuck.
Should we start
Even
with
calling him that now is gross.
Should we start with Trey Songz? Should we start with Breezy, since some of his stuff was more recent?
I want to get to Breezy last.
Breezy last. All right, and can't forget about MJ if we're talking about allegations.
Let's talk about MJ first, because I feel like that's something we can get out of the way pretty quickly.
Well, maybe we can. Maybe we can't.
And I say that because he's no longer with us. There was a trial, right? There was one.
MJ's been on trial multiple times.
Okay.
There was some that started and stopped because there were settlements.
He was never found guilty.
And then there was the trial. That was the big hoopla,
Mhm.
and he was found not guilty.
And let me make the point of saying,
And I could be wrong about this part, but
Uh-huh.
after not guilty, there were settlements.
okay,
I could be wrong.
okay,
Y'all can let us know in the comments.
right.
Oh, speaking of comments, please make sure you follow Ush. Ush.
Who? Is Ursha, baby?
I don't want to.
I don't know.
All right.
Okay. Please follow us at LHRC Pod on Instagram and TikTok.
That's LHRCPOD on TikTok and the gram.
Yes, and rate, review, and subscribe to the pod so you get it. You get the video, you get the audio on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes. It helps us help you.
Yes, and remember, this podcast comes out every 2 weeks, not every week. So
2 weeks.
you gotta wait a little bit for it, but then you get us, and you get all excited, and
Right.
Sure.
And we don't give y'all a 10-minute pod either.
No,
This is a nice, lengthy, deep dive type of pod.
Right. So, you know.
So you
Worth
could
the
break it
wait.
down over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You can listen to 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 20 minutes there. Debate with us online.
Right. Right.
That type of shit.
Exactly.
How they say? Shit like that.
Shit like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So MJ.
So MJ. Okay. So I just want to make the point before we even start talking about anyone is that just because someone has not been convicted of something does not mean that they did not do something, or just because someone is found not guilty for doing something doesn't necessarily mean that the person did not do the thing that they were accused of. And the reason I would say that is because, you know, I mean, we could talk about, I think the most common thing would be like OJ Simpson. I think there's a consensus that OJ did that shit. OJ did that shit. But because of the time it happened and because of just an overall disdain that the public and the media had for Black men and the way they treated them, you know, people rallied behind OJ for killing that woman and that man. And not okay when you really think about it. It is.
Remember he wrote a book?
Yes! The book! That book where he said, if I did it, this is exactly
Every
how
time
I would have done
Every
it.
time I think about that book, I think about, or every time I think of OJ and any of that is mentioned, I think about Cat Williams. Where he's like, and then he wrote a book called What If I Did It? Nigga, what if you shut the fuck up?
Right. You got away with it. You got away with it. But I want to be clear. I just want to make that point because I think that sometimes we forget that. And
that innocent and not guilty are two different things.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes.
Exactly. If a jury finds you not guilty, a jury found you not guilty. There wasn't enough evidence to prove that you did something. That does not mean that it did not happen.
Right.
It just doesn't. So I just want to say that because all the things we're going to talk about, we don't really know. I mean, some of it we know. Some of it we have proof. But a lot of this stuff we don't have proof. And so it's really hard to, we'll get to it, especially with the Chris Brown thing. I think that's going to be the one where we can really address the fact that things are not always as they seem.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you said that because it's true. There is a common misconception that not guilty means innocent.
Right.
Not guilty means there was not enough evidence to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that this person is guilty of the crime they're accused of and should be sentenced to some type of punishment.
Right.
So I think that was important that you broke that down. Good job.
So,
MJ, fade away, perfect. That's not the same MJ. Michael Jackson.
I'm uncomfortable. Because I feel
All right,
like
so let's start.
You can't really talk about Michael Jackson. People don't want to talk about Michael Jackson. We don't have any proof that Michael Jackson did anything that he was accused of. We have people who have come out and said there were young men who, as recently as the last couple of years, came out and did a whole doc interview, whatever it was, saying that they had these inappropriate relationships with Michael Jackson. There were some question marks on that. And so, again, we don't really know. And I think the reason this came up for you and I, too, was because we talked about the Janet doc.
Right, the Janet doc.
Last episode.
Yes.
And in the Janet doc, Janet very, without a doubt, says Michael didn't do any of the things that Michael was accused of.
Yes. She said they didn't. She said, I know my brother. He would never do things like that. Then when they spoke about the trial specifically, they said that the family stood behind Mike. They showed footage of the brothers with Mike,
Yeah.
Janet with Mike. They spoke about how it changed Mike, changed his public persona, changed the way he dealt with media, even changed how his label was doing business when they spoke about the Scream video.
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of where this came up. As far as that doc,
Yeah.
maybe we save that for an episode about docs. Maybe we do
Right,
like
we'll
a
do- yeah,
doc
we'll do a doc
episode and speak about some of those docs.
And I've never watched, to be clear, I've never watched the Michael Jackson.
I didn't watch any of these docs
thing
that people
that
were speaking
happened a
about.
couple
I didn't
years
watch
ago.
any of the R. Kelly ones.
Oh, I watched
didn't
the R. Kelly
watch-
doc. It's nasty.
I didn't watch
gross.
the Michael one. Any of that.
I couldn't watch the Michael one. I just, it's kind of like there's a Cosby doc out right now, and I can't watch it. And I know Cosby did that shit, but I can't watch it because I can accept that he's a nasty man, but
Never mind. I was about to give my Dave Chappelle on. Forget it.
I can accept that he's a nasty man. I just don't really want to. I don't want to watch the fodder about it. You know, I think that these things that inform people and you get your questions answered sometimes. I think it's okay that they exist. I know some people have a problem that they exist at all. I don't think it's a problem that they exist. I can't consume all of it. I don't want to watch the Cosby doc. I mulled it over a million times and was like, I'm not gonna watch this.
I was watching trailers.
I know, yeah, and I was like, I don't want to watch this. The R. Kelly doc I watched, but it was really difficult to watch.
So you watched both of them because there's two of them,
I watched Surviving R. Kelly, the one that was like 4 nights.
and then there was a second one.
I don't think I watched the second one.
Yeah, so there's Surviving R. Kelly, and it's a doc series.
Yeah,
And then
I watched
those same people did the Michael doc, right?
right. I think so.
And then they afterwards was like, oh, Surviving R. Kelly Part 2,
Yeah, I didn't watch
another
Part 2.
docu-series.
I didn't watch
Another one.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch Part 2. Part 1 was gross. They basically broke down how he groomed young women, girls, how he was able to keep them as long as he did. All of
Yeah,
the
a lot of
whole-
clips were circulating.
It broke down his brother and
Involvement.
involvement there. It even spoke about, I think it's important to speak about his childhood and the fact that
He's a victim.
He's a victim.
Yeah.
It was just gross, though. It was really difficult to watch.
Right.
I don't like to watch things about women being harmed or being assaulted or raped or anything like that. But I watched it because I think that for a long time we all lived in this state of yes, this is a thing, but like, what do we do with this? I know we were young
Yes.
when the tape came out, which
We
people
were
like
teenagers.
to call a sex tape, and
We were teenagers.
it's not a sex tape.
We were teens.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was child pornography, just so we're clear about that. But,
I mean, we were teens, so to us, it was porn.
right, but I didn't even see it. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I know that it got spread all over. You could buy it. You could go in Brooklyn, the same place you buy like books on Atlantic Avenue or
It was in-
wherever.
it was
You
in
could
these
buy it
streets.
yeah, it was in the streets.
It was in these streets.
It was in the streets. So, yeah. In terms of R. Kelly, since we're here,
Right. We'll get back to Mike.
he's a nasty man. I don't know how else to say. He's gross. He's disgusting. He should be
Right.
put under the jail.
Well, he is.
I mean, yes, and trying desperately every which way to get out.
Yeah.
He wants so badly to get out of prison, and he
I didn't.
never ever
I didn't
will.
click it, but I saw a headline that said R. Kelly is trying to hire the Cosby defense team.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that
I couldn't
the last
click
couple
it.
of weeks. I didn't click it.
Yeah.
I know he's tried to get out. He's tried to say because of COVID he needs to get out. He's used every excuse in the book to try to get out, and it's like, you're gross. Go rot.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, there's no question there, right? Like
Right.
we know, we have proof. There's enough women that came out, and again, this doc was very eye opening for me specifically.
The thing I never understood with R. Kelly is, and when I speak about this with my peers, I say it's the older generation's fault that he was even still out here, because
We
we're
couldn't do anything.
the same age.
Right.
So in 92 or 94, what year did he marry Aaliyah? Let's just say early 90s. He married teenage Aaliyah
And
in
that
the
was a
early
problem.
90s.
Right.
That was enough. Everybody's on this red flag shit now. That was enough of a red flag to be like, hey, all right, yeah, we know you believe you could fly, but this is not good.
Right.
Let's have an investigation.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, this is where it gets challenging for me.
Uh-huh.
If they locked R. Kelly up after he married Aaliyah, there's a lot of musical greatness we would not have today.
Well, that's part of our conversation, right? So let's
Yes.
get to that, because I feel like R. Kelly especially is the biggest one here that people have a strong
Feeling
reaction
about.
to.
Yeah.
In terms of listening to his music.
Yes.
And we were asking the question, can we separate the man from the music?
Right.
I cannot, and this is why.
Okay.
After watching the doc, right?
Right.
When you realize that a lot of the music he was making was aligning with the things that he was doing at the time, it makes it nasty.
Sure.
It makes the music gross.
Right.
That's why even when you referred to him as the Pied Piper earlier, I was like, it's yuck. It's like when you think about some of the songs, and when you materialize in your mind that these songs that he was singing was about these young girls and things he was doing with them.
Yeah.
It's hard now for me, at least, to hear it and not hear you nasty pedophile in my head.
Right.
You know? And don't get me wrong when I say, like, I can't listen to it now. I was a huge R. Kelly fan.
Well, it would be hard not to.
Huge.
R. Kelly is arguably the biggest R&B artist of our lives.
Yes, and I mean, I have heard every song, every album.
Yeah.
I have my favorite albums. I have the songs that I miss sometimes, and they accidentally pop up in my head sometimes, and I'm like, no.
And don't forget Trapped in the Closet.
All right, you and I don't agree on Trapped in the Closet. I feel like
Trapped in the Closet was fly.
I feel like after Trapped in the Closet 3, who needs it? You went
That's when
through
the
that
story
whole-
gets really
I
fly.
don't care. I just don't.
That's when the story really picks up.
I'm thirsty.
Ayo, Chris, Chris, can we get a water?
Please?
Chris
Chris doesn't do his job.
I don't know where Chris.
Should
Chris
we
is.
fire
Chris, we can't fire Chris. We're on our third or fourth episode.
Okay, which episode
Chris.
can we fire? Can we fire him in episode 6?
Chris. All right, we're gonna get some water from Chris. We'll be back.
Chris asked for ice water. Give me room temperature water.
You gotta have the cubes next time, player.
You can't get good help these days. You just can't. Anyway,
So Trapped in the Closet aside,
right. I don't even count that as a part of the catalog.
it was good. It just was a lot.
Yeah, after Trapped in the Closet 3, I wasn't.
Because after the couple,
Uh-huh.
they started unraveling this bigger story. Listen, we don't need the breakdown. They didn't need to be
we
30
don't.
of them. Or 35, whatever the number
The
is.
fact that you even know that there are 35.
Oh, let me be clear. I loved and owned Trapped in the Closet. I probably threw them away. I'll have to check my DVD boxes now, but I had all them shits. I used to watch them and sing them. In fact, I have a ex coworker who I'm cool with. He knows all of them by heart.
Okay.
If you say something, he'll just reference it. I mean, this was also before the R. Kelly stuff happened,
Right.
but he would just reference it. Like, be like, hey, Dion, you got a package. He'd be like, excuse me. He'd be like, hey, Dashing D, you got a package. He'd be like, the package?
All right. Okay.
That's what
All
he
right.
would do.
I believe you. I just.
Or like if two guys were beefing, like having an argument, he'd be like, oh, look at them. They acting like Chuck and Rufus.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, listen, I get it.
It was a thing.
It was a thing. It was absolutely a thing, but I think after maybe 3 or 4, I wasn't
After the
paying
couple?
attention. Yeah, after the couple.
After Chuck and Rufus came out.
I don't think that I stuck with it after that. So
And Michael K. Williams was entrapped in the closet.
I don't even remember that.
Because you didn't get past it. So when R. Kelly leaves the woman and the couple, he speeds home.
Yeah.
And he gets stopped by a cop. And the cop is Michael K. Williams, who is also a bigger part of the bigger story.
We are losing.
All right. Should we separate
separate
the man from the music? It is troubling. It is hard to do. Right? What if She's Out of My Life, which is one of my favorite Michael songs.
Me too.
Was about pedophilia.
And then I'm listening to the Genuine version of it.
Oh, nah, come on.
I mean, he cries too.
Genuine?
Yeah. It's at the end of
we have to talk one day
100%.
about R&B singers crying on records.
We can talk about that.
Because some of y'all, Breezy, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Breezy doesn't really cry on records, though.
Can you hear me crying? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
All right,
ooh,
but
ooh, ooh.
Okay, whatever.
It was a single. There was a video.
No, I know the song. I'm just saying that there are other real criers out there.
Yeah. So it's challenging to separate the man from the music. Should we? I don't know the answer. Honest. Because this person created this great thing. And if we use that, where else does it apply is my question. Okay. Right? The Romans created all these really great things, but the Romans were doing all type of fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Right? There are a lot of traditions, religions, holidays that stem from really nasty shit. Does it apply there? I mean, I don't celebrate 99% of the holidays, so whatever. But we don't know what else stems from nastiness. Right. So does it start and stop with music? Is our culture the only one who does this? Because that's my thing. I feel like our culture is one of the only ones who are like, well, this person's nasty. We got to stop. Even with Cosby. Those people are still watching Cosby. Our culture is the only one that's like, maybe we should stop watching all the fly Cosby stuff.
Here's the thing with Cosby. Cosby was playing a role on a TV show.
But he created all these things.
He created it. And then someone did mention, and this made me curious about the doc, the fact that he was a gynecologist
on the Cosby show.
On the Cosby show.
Yeah.
And
he was.
And I know that there was a debate about whether that was relevant or not, considering that he was the creator. He's the one who has to do with. But I think it was found that, there is a direct connection to the nasty shit he did and the fact that he was a gynecologist on the show. But I didn't watch the doc myself.
Because he likes playing with pee?
Yeah. Which, I mean, yuck. But here's what I will say. It's tricky for me because it's very easy for me to not listen to R. Kelly.
Okay.
Chris Brown beat up Rihanna. We saw her face. We saw it happen.
We didn't see it happen.
We saw it unfold.
Okay. Let's be
I
clear.
don't mean we were there.
All right.
Sorry.
Because there's no video
I misspoke.
that we know of the situation.
We did not see it happen, but we saw it unfold. We saw from the moment it was released that this thing had happened. We knew immediately is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
And we knew there was transparency there. There wasn't any way for them to hide it. And so they told us the truth. So we know this actually happened. I mean, I have a strong reaction to any man hitting any woman. But problematic as it may be, problematic as I may be for saying this, I always felt like at the time that they were so young, and while it doesn't excuse you hitting her, I think that, and I also knew his story and the fact that he came from an abusive home and there was all this stuff, and a young man who's still in his teens, not even 20 years old yet, this thing happens between him and his also young girlfriend. 10 years later, do we still hold it against him that this thing happened back then? If we have no other instances to prove that this is a thing that he does with women.
Okay.
That has kind of been my question mark on that.
Okay.
For several years now, not just 10 or whatever, however many years it is now. But I, up to maybe a year or two ago, was still listening to Chris Brown's music. Mm-hmm. I don't turn it off when it comes on now. I just feel like Chris Brown is problematic for a lot of different reasons.
Okay.
And I've been more involved. I've been trying to listen to more empowering music when it comes to women and Black women specifically. And, you know, Chris Brown doesn't like girls my complexion. So,
okay,
you know, that was, and I always knew that. I just want to be clear. I always knew that as I was listening to his music. But I like his music. I'm on record going to his concerts. I don't go to a lot of concerts, but I've gone to several Chris Brown concerts. Several. Okay. I'm bearing it all right now. I'm telling my truth.
Your truth. Living your truth, girl.
And I do like his music. I think he makes good music. However, the first 40-song album, I listened to it. The one that everybody said, no, I'm not listening to that. I'm not doing that. I listened. And it was, for the most part, a good album.
You know, I still think J. Cole took a shot at him.
Really?
Lyrically. He said Cole was going plat back when CDs was a thing. Uh-huh. And then I can't remember if it was before or after that. He said when your 40-song album gets a measly 100,000 streams.
Oh, yeah, he was. I mean, who else would he be talking about?
Well, there's a lot of people doing that now.
Yeah, but Chris Brown.
But Breezy kind of sparked
ushered that in.
Yeah, I think he took a shot at him.
Yeah, but also, and I talk about this all the time. You know, people talk about his numbers or his numbers being low or whatever it is. He took a hit when this Rihanna thing happened. It's a surprise to me that he even still makes as much music and puts out as much music as he does.
But Chris does well. Let's be clear.
No, he's not hurting. He didn't. No one sent him into the corner and never let him come back out. That's not at all what happened. And I think in some circles,
he's a superstar.
Oh, he's an absolute superstar, and I think he would have been even more huge had this thing not happened. Mm-hmm. But yeah, at this point, he has fans, loyal fans who are going to his concerts.
A lot.
Are
sold out shows.
Sold out shows, yes. Well, some of them anyway, because I've been to some that were not. But
well,
don't ever go to a concert in Philadelphia.
Hey.
Oh, go to Roots Picnic. Don't go to a concert.
That was Dashing D who said don't go to Philly.
No, I didn't say don't go to Philly.
You said don't go to a concert
that's a
in
rant
Philadelphia.
for another day, actually. But Philadelphia is not my favorite place.
I love Philly.
I love the city.
Let's
We could talk about it another time.
let's save that conversation.
Yes, but no, I went to Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia to see Chris Brown. Like, someone got me tickets, and I used to work in entertainment, so I got a lot of free stuff. But it was weird. It was almost like people were just like hanging around, like out at the mall one day, and somebody said, "Hey, you want some tickets for a concert?" It was just a really random group, like random crowd.
Okay.
The seats weren't filled. It was just, I think he felt that the energy was off because his performance could have been better.
Was this around the time of any of the several allegations?
No, this was when Heartbreak. Fuck it, I remember that. Heartbreak on a Full Moon came out. That was the 45.
I would say that's the 45,
album.
right? Okay.
Yes, that was around that time, I believe.
What's that? No Guidance?
No, that's not No Guidance.
Oh, sorry, I don't know
That's
a lot of Breezy.
Party. Remember Party?
No, sorry.
I'm not singing today.
It's okay.
You would know the singles that came out if you heard them, but
all right.
Whatever. I'm talking too long about this. My point is, I was able to separate things.
So you grant him grace.
I gave him grace.
Even though there's been a lot of things that he's been accused of after Rihanna.
Okay, so he was accused of stalking Karrueche.
Yes.
Which, I don't know. Here's the thing, right?
I'm just asking the question.
When people are entertainers, and this thing even came up, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. This came up with the Rihanna thing too, when there was a restraining order, but then they would have to be at the same places.
Okay.
I think we could have a whole conversation, and we will on this podcast, about men who do toxic shit to get women back.
Okay.
That is a thing.
I don't disagree.
It's fucked up, but it is.
I'll save my opinions of that for that time.
There is a culture of masculinity in which men are treated, or men are taught that in order to get your girl back, you gotta, do a lot of shit that I would consider toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need to just know that you're not getting your girl back.
Okay.
And that is what.
But women don't practice that.
I didn't say that.
I'm just asking.
I'm saying there are a lot of public figures, and there's a huge one right now, actually.
Okay.
I won't say Kanye's name.
Oh, you won't say Kanye's name.
But there are plenty of men, especially men in the public eye, who do a lot of public shit to get women back.
Right.
And it's not okay. It's like when Offset, and again, we will deep dive into this, but just to touch on this, it's like when Offset shows up
I knew it.
to Cardi
I knew you were
B's
gonna
work,
say that. I knew it.
because it's Cardi B's work.
Yep. It was her
He
concert.
shows up to her concert on stage, is like, baby, 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 please.
Right.
No.
And proposed.
Whatever I don't even know what he did.
He proposed.
It wasn't okay. It was not okay. They were having problems. We knew they were having problems.
Yeah. Very public.
It was a very public thing that happened, and he tried to make a public gesture, but don't show up to my job and do that. Because we forget, because they're performers and they're public figures, they're actually working. She was at work.
She was.
That's not okay. If some nigga shows up to my job talking about, hey, tapping on the glass window, talking about, hey, can we talk about this? No, nigga, we can't talk about this right now.
Catch me after
I'm
the clock.
at work.
Catch me outside.
Call me later or something. Send me a text.
Call me maybe.
Send me some flowers. You wanna involve my job? Send me some flowers or something and say I'm sorry. Like, don't show up to my job and act an ass. Anyway, again, we will talk about that in more detail, because I would love to hear your thoughts.
Sure.
But
So he's been accused of multiple things since Rihanna.
multiple things. But as we learned last week, things are not always as they seem. And we know he is someone who is considered problematic, right? So there is opportunity there for the opportunists to do things and have people, I guess, blindly believe that we know in a sense what he's capable of.
Okay.
We've seen what he's done.
What has he done?
He beat up Rihanna. And so we in the back of some people's minds, he's capable of doing some really heinous shit.
Okay.
And so every time a rape allegation comes out or an assault allegation comes out or something like that, I think for the most part, we probably all take a pause and go, did he do that shit?
Well, let's have a real conversation. In America, a black man is guilty until proven innocent.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to anything surrounding women and abuse.
Yes.
If Dashing D says Jay did blank, if Dashing D says Superman did blank, we're guilty until proven innocent.
Sure.
So that is one of the things off the rip that makes it difficult. And then you add on the history of allegations, different allegations, and the Rihanna thing.
Right.
It does make it hard to gauge whether this is
the
true or not true. Do these things hold merit? Do they don't hold merit? And this recent one, for those who don't know, Chris Brown was alleged of
rape.
So this woman came out and said that he raped her.
And he sued her. She was
suing him
for something like $20 or $30 million.
I believe it was 20. But I'm also not the TMZ guy, so it could be a totally different number. I could be wrong.
It's somewhere between $20 and $30 million.
Right. So she said he raped me and I'm suing for 20 mil, which is weird to begin with. Because I don't know what rape and 20 mil have to do with each other. But that's what happened.
Well, we live in a world where when someone does something wrong and someone does something wrong to you, we have a system in place to where you can be compensated for that wrongdoing. So
yeah, but rape is not I broke your TV.
No. I'm not saying it is, but there's a spectrum. Law doesn't just cover one thing; it covers everything, or more or less, right? And whether we agree with the way the laws work or not, that is the society we live in. Where yes, if someone assaults me, I'm allowed to sue them for assault, and I am allowed to ask for compensation for my troubles.
Yeah, and deep pockets is a thing.
Right. So I guess the way I see it is if it's okay for any other crime, I don't understand why people get upset with women for suing when something like this happens to them, because there is a lot of trauma and there's a lot of stuff that you will never be able to get rid of,
right?
Or never be able to resolve or reconcile,
right,
for the rest of your life after something like this happens to you,
right?
So I don't think it's wrong at all to ask for money, if somehow that makes your life a little bit more comfortable, even though you will still feel the effects of the trauma.
20 mil is very comfortable.
I don't have the right tools to decide how much money anyone should get.
Right.
So yes, it's a huge number.
I'm just saying it's weird because if something criminal was done, justice, quote unquote, is for this person to now be charged of a crime and sentenced to jail time.
That's the part that I didn't understand. I was like, how did we get to the 20 million when he hasn't even been convicted of
right? That's what I'm saying.
Woman. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that.
Which goes back to Michael Jackson, because it was like, okay, if you committed pedophilia, if you did criminal acts to children, it should be jail time. And that's why the settlements were very confusing, because it looks like admission of guilt.
Yeah, it does.
And it also set precedents for things like what we're talking about now.
Well, MJ used to do some really strange things, and people would say that he was just
No doubt about
he
that.
was very childlike.
Yes.
And so, honestly, if we're being honest, if someone sees themselves as childlike and does these very, what seems to other adults as these very bizarre things, it's not that far-fetched to think that his interactions with children might be inappropriate. Maybe the intent is not to do something to harm children, but it is possible that if he was in that state, that it could have happened because he's seeing himself as someone who is childlike, someone who never grew up. He's still a boy in a way, or whatever.
But did he ever say that, or did the public say that? Because I never heard Michael Jackson say, "I'm Peter Pan."
I can't.
Or I never grew up. I heard him say, "I had a very difficult childhood. I didn't really get to have a childhood, so I like to have fun now."
Right, but I think
never heard him say, "I'm a big kid. I never grew up." I think the opposite. I think Mike grew up too fast.
Well, yeah, and I think that's all. Yes, in a way, yes, that's part of it.
So yeah, I want to ride ponies and own giraffes.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I want to fuck kids.
No, of course not. I'm not saying that it's black and white. I'm not saying I see what I did there, and I didn't even do it on purpose. I'm not saying that it's black and white, and I'm not saying that's even what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm just saying, if we're going to speculate,
okay,
and I'm sure when he did whatever trials he did, or if he was around now and this was a conversation and he was put on trial, that would be a question. Like, how does one affect the other? Sure, just because you want to ride ponies because you didn't get to do that when you were a kid doesn't mean that you're going to harm children. But it does speak to his mental state, and I think it's okay to ask those questions.
Yeah. Sure.
And maybe when you ask those questions, you'll find that there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's really hard to talk about MJ because he's not around anymore, and nothing was ever really proven. And so it just makes me so uncomfortable to even really discuss it, because I feel like we'll never really know.
Right.
And
so do you bump the music or not bump the music?
Also controversial opinion. Michael Jackson isn't the person that I reach for when I'm feeling nostalgic.
Oh.
I know he's that for many people, and I love his music. I'm not saying that I don't. It's just that I don't go back to Michael Jackson's music the way a lot of people do.
Oh, I definitely go back. I bump it all. She's Out of My Life is my shit.
Oh, I mean that.
And there's plenty of others. Like, as soon as the Russia-Ukraine thing happened, I was like, oh, Stranger in Moscow.
Yeah. I listened to Whitney Houston more. Okay. I think that I felt more connected to her.
Okay.
Even her music.
Anyway, never mind. I'm gonna leave Whitney alone for now.
Crack is whack, and she was right. She was right about crack being whack, and we're just going to leave it. I'm not gonna get into Whitney right now. There, okay. Leave it right there, because we will not slander Whitney Houston on this podcast.
I was not gonna slander, but you can continue.
But yeah, I just, I'm not having a hard time with not listening to Michael Jackson's music. Okay. I think it's universal, so you hear it everywhere. You hear it in everything that you do. Absolutely. And maybe that's why I don't necessarily miss it, because you never really lose it, right? Yeah. But I do miss listening to Chris Brown.
Okay. So you're not at the moment?
I'm not. No, I haven't listened in a couple of years. And that's just for like, preservation of self.
Okay.
I'm older now. I see the world differently now. And no, I don't want to bump to the dude who's like, but she gotta be light skinned. Like
He said that?
no,
Oh.
not in
I don't know. I don't listen to Breezy
But
like
he
that.
basically says
He never really was my guy.
He says he makes a lot of reference to that, and just and again, this wasn't news to me because I feel like I'll say this to people like, oh, I don't really listen to him anymore, and this is why, and they're like, well, you didn't know that before? No, I knew that before, but it wasn't at the forefront of my mind at that point. So,
Understood.
And I'm prioritizing things a lot differently. 30, almost 35-year-old me is prioritizing things a lot differently than I was when I was 25. So, whatever the case may be.
And what about the guy we've yet to mention?
I'm scared of that too.
Yeah.
Trey Songz has, and this is not, reputations are reputations, and they could just be that. They could just be rumors and things like that.
But
as I mentioned before, I worked in entertainment for a long time, and I've never heard anything about Trey Songz that wasn't about his womanizing and his just, and let's be clear, just because you like a lot of women doesn't mean you rape women.
Right.
I want to make sure that when we're having this conversation, we're acknowledging the fact that there are no absolutes in this. The only absolutes we have are that, and I know Cosby wasn't really a part of the conversation, but he became a part of the conversation. We know that to be true. We know he did that shit. We know that R. Kelly did that shit. We do not know what Trey Songz has done or not done.
Right. The other three we are in question.
Yeah. Everything else is in question. We are not, this is all things that have been alleged about them, not things that we know to be true. The only other thing that we know to be true is the Chris Brown and Rihanna thing. Other than that, and we know that it was documented that he was stalking Karrueche.
Yes.
But, and I'm not trying to make light of that either. But yeah, we don't know if any of the other stuff is true. What we can say and what we didn't say about Chris Brown is that the thing that came out last week.
Oh, right. We didn't finish.
He was able to prove that the allegations were false.
Right. So he had receipts, as they say now.
Yes. He had text messages. He had voice notes.
Right.
Where this woman, it seems like they had a good time.
She wanted the good times to keep going.
She wanted the good times to keep going, and he did not, which single... well sought after man like himself probably has his good time and moves on. Right.
And men are allowed to say no.
Men are allowed to say absolutely.
I just want to make that clear.
Everyone is allowed to say no. Consent
I know, but in this day and age, that's not really said.
Right. No, and you're right. Men are allowed to say no. Men are allowed to say, I don't want this anymore. And
yes,
he did that.
He did.
And she was not okay with that.
And she turned around and was like, oh, you don't want this pussy? Pay me twice.
No, she said pay me 10 times.
Pay me 10 times.
She said pay me all of the money.
She said pay how you weigh. Which is foul.
Here's the thing, right? The audacity of someone to sue you for $20 million knowing that you did not do that shit.
But that's the American way.
I know it's the American way, but my thing is, girl, you didn't even ask for $5 million. You asked for 20.
Yo,
or
if you're gonna ask, you gotta just ask for it all.
That's gross. That's gross. And let's talk about that for a second.
That's like the cats who catfish. It's like, oh, you could have lied and just been like some small lie, like, hey, I woke up late, couldn't meet you at the mall. Them motherfuckers be like, yo, my grandmother has cancer.
Yeah, they do.
And
they do.
she was on the operating table when we were supposed to meet and I didn't have service and my phone. And they just go all the way. So
super dramatic.
Yeah. 20 mil. What's up?
I mean, that's a lot of money.
20 mil because you ain't want to give me no dick.
That's a lot of money for a lie. And
that's the American way.
I mean, I'm not saying that the dick wasn't good, but girl, if you could get Chris Brown's dick, you could probably get somebody else's good dick too.
If I was Chris Brown, my next album would be called whatever the lawsuit amount was. So let's say $20 million.
dick.
$20 million dick. That would be the next motherfucking album. 40 songs. 40 songs about all that.
No,
he got to make back some of them
it
costs.
should just be 20 songs. He should keep the theme
one
going.
for each mill.
Yes.
That's smart. See,
Yeah.
you need the executive producer or something.
I mean, listen.
Breezy, holler at Dashing D.
Introduce him to some dark skinned girls too.
Then,
While
you know,
we're
we
at
could
it.
do that.
Yeah,
We could do that.
Anyway. Yeah, so I think that was a good. I wanted to make sure we mentioned that because I think that's important that we acknowledge that there is another side to this. And that's what makes it complicated when we're having the conversation about who should we believe. And I think that if someone says that they've been a victim of something, I think you have to investigate it. I think you have to listen to them. I don't think that we get to ignore them.
No.
And I think that's it. If we find that what they said was a lie, then we found that what they said was a lie.
Right.
But I don't think that because things like this happen, we should stop believing women when they say that something has happened to them.
But it does make it difficult.
It makes it harder, but we know that there are people who are actually doing those things.
Yeah, but it makes it hard, and that's the part that I always wonder. So obviously I'm not a woman, but I always wonder the flip side. Like when I see a dude accused of some shit, I'm like, damn, this is fucked up. I hope it's not true. I stand with the woman until further evidence is brought out.
Right.
But when it comes out that it's not true, I'm like, damn, she's fucking it up for a lot of other women because I know how hard it is.
And fucking it up for that man.
Well, that's the piece that I'm less worried about. Yeah,
Less
it puts
worried.
a stain on the
does.
name. But now you've made it harder for all the victims who are already having a hard time coming forward because it's not easy to come forward and say, hey, Dashing D raped me. Hey, Dashing D fondled me when I asked her not to. That's not easy for people to do. So when people are coming out and saying that extreme things were done, and then it comes out that they were not done, I can only imagine that it makes it harder for these victims to stand up.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. It does, and I don't know. It's unfortunate, but I think that we as the outsiders who have to receive this information have to continue to assess it the way that we have been doing it because it's dangerous to go all the way to the other end and just say, well, I don't believe these women, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm a little petty. I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
I feel like if you lie about rape, then like you have to get some kind of punishment.
I'm not mad at that because I feel like you create this stain on the person that you accused and they could potentially lose things.
Absolutely.
You know, it doesn't get erased that they were accused of this thing.
No.
And so it changes their trajectory in a way.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to want to mess with them if they feel like there was any confusion or any, whatever.
Right.
So yes, I agree with that. Actually, I think that if you're going to lie about being raped, something that egregious, there should be consequences.
At least a little Jesse Smollett 5 months, something. No. You could do that on your pod. I'm just saying. Juicy Smollett got 5 months. That's what Dave called him.
I know. That's Dave.
He got 5 months. Yo, if you could lie blatantly, publicly about rape, which is also perjury if you did it in a court of law. Of course. Yo, you got to go down for perjury plus some.
Yeah.
Plus some.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, do like they did Juicy. You know what I'm saying? Give you 100 million hours of community service.
100 million.
I'm ODing, obviously. But yeah. Now, you want to lie about rape? All right, go clean highways for the next 5 years. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Go pick up all the
Yeah,
dirt
go
in the
clean
park.
highways.
Yeah, go
Cut
clean the
down highway.
highways. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Get
All right.
you your yellow vest or orange vest and go get the little stick thing and go pick up garbage the
little
whole
stick
fucking
thing,
weekend.
yeah.
For the next 5 years, you have no
Yeah.
weekends.
Uh-huh.
Every time you think about the weekend, not the person. Every time you think about a weekend, you should be like, "Oh, sorry, I told niggas he was raping me. I gotta pick up garbage. At least
That's so nasty to me. Like I don't
lying or
that's
garbage.
lying.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say garbage is kind of light,
I don't
honestly.
like garbage though.
But picking up garbage on the
trash.
weekends is kind of light.
I mean, compared to other things you could be doing.
That's what I'm
I mean,
saying,
You could be
so-
sitting in a jail cell.
Yeah, I'm not saying they should do 10 years in prison,
No.
but you got to get some kind of punishment for lying on cats.
Well, I think if they can find a prison cell for Jussie, they can absolutely find one for someone who lies about being raped.
That's what I'm saying. There are plenty of
Or sexually
prisons in the
assaulted.
United States.
Of course.
We can make room
Yeah.
for some of these liars. I think they won't do that though, because once we start locking up liars, now shit gets crazy, and America would have to change drastically.
The Wild Wild
Because
West.
we'd also just lose a lot of careers, because there are careers in America built on lying.
Oh yeah, I mean we live in a society of liars.
Absolutely.
We can't. function
Lying is
without
the
it.
American way.
I don't know how we exist without.
What is it? Truth, justice, and what is it?
I don't know.
Truth, justice. I'll get back to you.
All right, so
So let's bottom line it.
bottom line.
So MJ,
uh-huh.
you said you don't really bump his music, but not because of the accusations.
Just because I just
But I'm saying not because of that, just because that's not your dude.
No.
Okay, I bump MJ all the time. My daughter knows a ton of his music. I grew up in a very MJ household, and I carry on the tradition.
My household was in a
I even have
household,
songs
too,
I've
so
written
just
that
like-
were inspired by MJ songs.
Okay.
MJ, I definitely bump. Chris Brown, you say you're not bumping.
No.
I don't bump him, but he was never my guy. Honestly,
He was
I never
my
really connected with him. His music wasn't really something that I ran to. It was on the radio a lot prior to Rihanna and even after Rihanna.
Mhm.
So I know a lot of the singles. Can't tell you shit on the album, so I don't really bump him. Trey songs,
We
didn't really dive into. So Trey has been accused multiple times of rape allegations. Everyone knows about the Keke Palmer incident. It's referenced anytime anything comes up.
And people didn't believe
online.
Keke when Keke said something's off here. Something's when you look into it, it was more of the practices on his video set and whatever. And she was like, something's off. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't want to do it.
Right.
I think he ended up even using the footage of her when she said, do not use footage of me.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
fucked up.
It came out and he put it out anyway.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Did she sue him for that?
I don't think she did, and I think part of that was because.
So she's nice, because that's when you sue.
But here's the thing: no one believed her.
Yes,
And
you are
people
correct.
were shitty to her
Absolutely.
because of what she said.
Yeah. It was very much, yo, shut the fuck up.
Right. It was like, why would you talk about Trey songs like that?
Yeah.
And a lot of these men are protected by this huge force, and then there's the public who,
Which is enhanced when we're talking about music.
yeah,
Because now the labels are
got machines
involved,
behind them.
lawyers are involved, because they are trying to protect their asset,
Mhm.
because they're making a living off of the things this person is doing,
Right.
especially in the age of 360 deals.
Yeah.
The label is profiting huge. They are making a lot of income profits from these artists. Even R. Kelly, when all of that stuff happened,
Mhm.
his music, his streams went way up.
Right.
R. Kelly's not who got most of that money, if any of it. Most of it was the labels.
Right. I just, with the Trey thing, I think that we've been getting too many accusations too frequently, and honestly, one accusation should be
Enough.
looked into, that should be investigated. I'm not saying it's not, but I think that there have been so many at this point that it's hard to deny that something's off,
Right.
that something's going on, this many women can't just be crazy.
Right.
Um,
It's kind of like the Michael thing.
right. There's whether we like it or not, there's power in numbers.
Yeah.
And so yes, one allegation, we want to see it through, and we want to make sure that whatever happened comes out, and we have an understanding of that, and whoever needs to get into trouble gets into trouble. But by the time you get to 8 women, 10 women, 15 women, it's like, are we not paying enough attention to this?
Yeah.
You know, I think the Trey Songz thing, I'm ready to get him the fuck out of here because I don't know what else to do.
Right.
I mean, I haven't listened to Trey in a while.
Okay.
He's another one that I feel like I listened to pretty religiously for a long time, and
But you've pumped the brakes.
I don't look for his music at this point.
That's where I get torn.
You know?
It's hard for me when these allegations happen because I consider myself a feminist. I believe we should believe women until proven otherwise.
Mhm.
Although I am a black man, I understand the way society views us and treats us during all legal and criminal things. But I don't know with the music. Like, it's hard for me. R. Kelly was a prominent part of my life. He was all over all the hit records.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a bunch of hit records for other artists. So even if you're not bumping R. Kelly, you could be bumping R. Kelly and
You're
not
always
even really.
bumping R. Kelly.
Yeah, you're bumping R. Kelly.
During a certain time frame in music history, it's
right.
Probably was. R.
So
Kelly.
it's challenging for me, and I think it does. I think it does matter what the allegations are and all of these things, but I don't ever know the definitive answer, which is, we spoke about this off mic, which is why we wanted to discuss this on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's challenging every time. I largely do not listen to R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say never.
Okay.
But once in a blue, I might throw a R. Kelly tune on. But largely, I don't listen to him. I'm conflicted for multiple reasons, especially, like I said, at this point, the banks have frozen legally his assets are frozen.
Right, so
he's not making any money. Yeah. The labels are making money, which is a deeper, darker criminal link, as the song once said. But I'm very conflicted with all of this. For Breezy and Trey Songz, it's a little easier for me. I don't listen to Breezy. If it comes on, it's gonna be rare in my household. Trey is on a very specific playlist I have. I'll call it a bedroom playlist.
I was just about to say, it can't be on too many.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trey is definitely on the bedroom playlist.
Selling something very specific.
He's got his niche. And
he's good at it.
And he's great at it. And
he's very smooth.
For me, that's when it gets a little challenging because I don't want bedtime vibes to be messed up by and that is problematic. So I don't really know with Trey what to do. I do think, like I said, this is a question for me with all the people involved, hence them being problematic, us discussing it here. But why not? Get louder.
That wasn't Trey Songz, but
nope. That wasn't any songs. That was corner store music.
Sounds in New Jersey.
That was Bodega, baby.
Hey. All right. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, it's challenging regardless of who the artist is, what the accusations are. I think when it becomes very clear that this is the definitive thing, then we should probably not support. But even then it gets difficult. Going back to Cosby, he created so many great things. R. Kelly created so many great pieces of work. Do we simply just throw it all in the trash?
I don't think so.
That's the question for me.
And I do think that there's a difference between music and acting. I do.
I mean, it's all art.
Acting in a television show, it's all art. And I understood your point about Cosby being so involved in the creation of the shows that he was on. So that's different. But I guess when we're talking about someone who was just acting in a show and we find out that they're whatever, you throw the whole, it's kind of like a lot of people watched Roseanne
Yep.
when Roseanne was first out. We found out that Roseanne is very. Do we know where Roseanne was on January 6th, 2020?
I'm not touching that one.
But she has said a lot of disgusting things about
she wears red caps.
She wears red caps. She got kicked off of the reboot of her show.
Yep.
And there was this big debate at that point about whether the show should continue or not. And then there was a good point made. There's a whole cast. How do you throw away a whole show because of this one person?
Right.
When they had nothing to do with it.
Right.
And so the show still exists.
Yes.
I think.
I think they did like 1 or 2 seasons, and then I saw something about them breaking down into other shows like Offspring. What's it called? Spinoffs.
Yeah.
But I never saw any of them come to fruition.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about that. I know I've seen a commercial fairly recently for the show, so I'm assuming it's still on. But that I can understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the show will continue to exist because there are other people that it affects. When it comes to music, especially with people who write their own music, and when you think about, like I said, with the R. Kelly thing, where we know that now that we've gotten accounts from people who were there,
right,
and we know that he was writing the music, it was his art emulating his life.
Right.
That's different for me.
Yeah.
I think it's different. Like if you say that, there's someone else writing Trey Songz music, and then Trey Songz, that's the bad example. There's someone else writing someone's music, and they're just singing the music. And then we're like, okay, well, can we still listen to this? I kind of feel like that's better than if a raping ass rapist is writing music about touching girls and things like that.
Right.
And, because then it's like, what's going on in that person's mind when they're writing?
Well, then in that example, Mike would be safe. Because a lot of the hit records, Mike didn't write them.
Right. And like I said, Michael Jackson is not on the blocked list for me. It just so happens that
it's not really your guy.
He's not living in like my most played playlist. So, but yeah. So I think to close it out, I think it's complicated.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
I think it's complicated. I think that, we are humans, and a lot of this music is tied to emotion and memories, things we've gone through.
Absolutely.
Happy times, sad times,
weddings.
Times we've been angry. Oh, what?
Come on, the wedding song. Listen. I'm not going to say the name, but there was a specific song from this group of people that was playing at all the weddings.
I went to a wedding last summer, and someone requested it. It was awkward because no one else got up to dance to it. Only that person and the person they were with danced to it. And I was actually surprised that the DJ even
let them
indulged them in requesting that at someone else's wedding. When in a moment where people weren't up on the dance floor, people were kind of just milling around. It was just after cocktail hour, so it wasn't really
dance time.
It wasn't really dance time. But yeah, it was very strange and awkward, and I wished it didn't happen, but it did.
I can see why.
But yeah, so it's complicated, and I feel like as people we do the best that we can. But I also feel like to some degree we're all being held to an extremely high standard at this point about where our moral compass lies. And so it's kind of hard to be perfect and be what other people want you to be, especially when other people is random people on the internet.
And sometimes you have to just rebel against that shit.
You do. I agree.
That's my stance.
I think so. Well, your shirt does say
that's
that.
Why, you know what I'm saying? I had to.
Although I do see those Scrabble pieces, and I do remember kicking your ass in Scrabble.
I know not what you speak of.
I just landslide. Okay.
I know not
landslide.
what you speak of.
But anyway.
So, what do y'all think? Listeners,
Yeah.
followers, subscribers,
know.
let us know what you think about each of these artists. Feel free to put it in the comments, or on a lot of the apps now you can do response videos. On TikTok you can respond to a video with a
Yes.
video,
Send us a response.
and Instagram now has the same feature. They call it remixing. We'll put this up there, and you guys and gals can let us know what your thoughts are in the
For
comments.
those of you who don't identify as either.
That's right.
We love all y'all.
I think we had one more thing, no?
We did have one more thing, but I think we can say that we've gone way, way, way over time. But what was the last song you listened to?
Ooh, I don't know. Let me see. Since my phone is in my hand. Oh, does it count the one you just...
The one I played before we started? I guess we both listened to the same song then.
That's it.
The Isley Brothers, Work to Do.
That's right.
I've got work to do.
Holler.
Go check it out.
That's an oldie but a goodie.
But a goodie, definitely. And if you've got work to do,
that might inspire you.
honestly, pro tip, all you men out there who need to have a conversation with your girl about not having enough time, listen to Work to Do.
There you go.
You might figure out how to finesse it. I'm just saying.
Holler.
I'm just saying. Look at me giving the men advice.
There you go.
Look at me.
You go, girl.
All right. Well, this has been fun. Or not.
I was cool with it. Listen, uncomfortable conversations are important.
They're important. They're important to have, and we'll have, I guess, lighter conversation next episode. Because I do think we had other things on the list that we didn't get to. But this was an important conversation.
Well, we
to
took a
have.
deep dive. You know what I'm
did.
saying? So
We did. And now I've got to go look at my playlists and see what.
you got a filter.
I
Got to
make
filter
sure
out.
that
You got
I'm
to trim the fat.
staying true to what I said here on this here podcast.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah,
You don't want to get caught slipping.
right.
You be at a kickback and some tray sneak out.
All right, or somebody was playing past the aux and whew,
You know what I'm saying? And you
something
be in,
on my
you be in
playlist
trouble.
sneaks out. Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening. We always appreciate it. And
Word.
don't forget, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, LHRC Pod. And we'll be back
In 2 weeks.